What if the greatest love story ever told wasn't Romeo and Juliet, but Adam and Eve? Beyond the forbidden fruit lies a romance so profound it literally created the blueprint for every human heart that would ever beat. This isn't the story of humanity's fall, it's the epic of love's triumph over paradise itself. Before there was sin, there was choice. Before there was exile, there was freedom. Adam and Eve didn't just eat an apple, they chose each other over eternity, love over immortality, the unknown together over paradise alone. Their story rewrites everything you thought you knew about sacrifice. These are the chronicles hidden between the lines of Genesis, the intimate moments that shaped not just two souls, but the very DNA of human love itself. Prepare to witness how the first heartbreak became humanity's greatest victory. In the beginning, there was loneliness. God looked upon Adam and declared for the first time that something was not good, man's solitude. Every creature had its mate, every being its companion, but Adam walked alone among the wonders of Eden, his heart incomplete. Then came the divine sleep, not just rest, but the first surgery of love. As Adam slumbered, God reached into his very essence, taking not just a rib, but a piece of his soul. From this sacrifice of self, woman was born, not as afterthought, but as completion. Adam's awakening echoes through every love story since. "Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh," he cried. The first poem, the first song, the first declaration of perfect recognition. In Eve's eyes, he saw himself reflected and made whole. This was love before it knew its own name. Their Eden days were humanity's honeymoon with existence itself. They named creation together, explored wonders hand in hand, and knew intimacy without shame. Every sunset was their first. Every discovery shared doubled their joy. This was love learning to be love. But even in paradise, questions stirred. The tree of knowledge stood not as temptation, but as possibility. The one choice that could transform perfect beings into free beings. Love, they would learn, means nothing without the freedom to choose it daily.
The serpent's whisper wasn't just about wisdom, it was about transcendence. You will be like God, it promised. But the deeper seduction was this: you will choose your own destiny. For the first time, Adam and Eve glimpsed love as decision rather than design. Eve's hand trembled as she reached for the fruit, not from fear of death, but from the weight of choice itself. In that moment, she chose growth over stagnation, experience over innocence, the messy beauty of becoming over the perfect stillness of being. Adam's choice was even more profound. He could have remained innocent, stayed in Eden, lived forever in paradise. But when he saw Eve with the fruit of knowledge, he chose her over everything. "Where you go, I will go," his action declared. Love trumped immortality. The moment they ate, consciousness exploded within them. They saw, really saw, for the first time, not just their nakedness, but their vulnerability, their mortality, their desperate need for each other. Shame was just love becoming self-aware. God's footsteps in the garden weren't those of an angry father, but a grieving parent. "Where are you?" he called, not because he didn't know, but because he wanted them to choose honesty over hiding. The first sin wasn't disobedience, it was hiding from love. When they finally emerged from hiding, something beautiful happened. Adam didn't blame Eve, he claimed her. "The woman you gave me," he said. Not accusation, but ownership of their partnership. They were in this together, whatever came next. God's judgment really was a birth announcement for humanity. Death wasn't punishment, it was urgency. Pain wasn't cruelty, it was intensity. Exile wasn't rejection, it was graduation. They were being sent out to become what they could never be in paradise, fully human. The clothes God made them weren't just covering, they were wedding gifts. As he clothed their nakedness, he was preparing them for a harder but deeper kind of intimacy. Love outside Eden would require protection, but it would also require courage. The walk to Eden's gates was their first journey as true partners. No longer innocent children in paradise, they were now adults facing an uncertain world together. Every step away from perfection was a step toward authentic love. Outside Eden, they built their first home together, not in paradise, but in hope. Every stone they gathered, every shelter they crafted was an act of faith in their future. Love, they discovered, grows strongest when it has something to build toward. Their first night outside paradise was their true wedding night. Under stars they'd never noticed in Eden's eternal twilight, they discovered intimacy that was chosen, not given. Darkness made their love a flame. Vulnerability made it precious. Eve's pregnancy announced to the universe that love creates more than it consumes. In her growing belly, Adam saw not just his child, but proof that their choice in Eden had been right. From exile had come expansion. From loss had come multiplication. Cain's first cry pierced not just the air, but eternity itself. Here was proof that love could create life beyond paradise, that human hearts could generate what only God had made before. They were truly like Him now, creators of life and love. Teaching their children became their first shared ministry. Every lesson in survival was actually a lesson in love, how to care for each other, how to build rather than destroy, how to choose hope over despair. They were raising humanity's future. When Cain's jealousy erupted into murder, Adam and Eve faced their greatest test. Love without conditions had to extend even to a child who'd committed the unthinkable. They wept for Abel, but didn't abandon Cain. Parental love doesn't end with perfection. Seth's birth was resurrection after death, hope after despair. In holding their third son, Adam and Eve understood that love's greatest power isn't prevention of loss, it's recovery from it. Life always finds a way to continue through love. As their family grew, so did their understanding of God's original plan. They hadn't fallen from grace, they'd grown into it. Every child, every generation carried forward the love that had begun with a choice in a garden long ago.
The seasons became their marriage counselors. Winter taught them to depend on each other for warmth. Spring showed them renewal after hardship. Summer brought abundance to share. Autumn prepared them for cycles of loss and gain. Nature mirrored love's rhythms. Their arguments became as sacred as their harmony.
In Eden, they'd never needed to disagree. Outside, they learned that conflict resolved in love actually strengthens the bond. Two becoming one requires the one to embrace the two. Growing old together was their greatest adventure. Every wrinkle told a story. Every gray hair marked a year of choosing each other again. In Eden, beauty was given. Outside, it was earned through decades of faithful love. When strangers found their settlement, Adam and Eve became love's first ambassadors. They showed other humans what partnership could look like. Not perfection, but persistent choice. Not ease, but effort rewarded with depth beyond imagination. Their prayers evolved from requests to thanksgiving. No longer asking to return to Eden, they praised God for the gift of growing love, the blessing of chosen intimacy, the miracle of family born from exile turned into expansion. Eve's wisdom became legendary among the women of their growing tribe. She taught that love isn't about finding your other half. It's about becoming whole enough to choose partnership every day. Two complete people creating something greater than themselves. Adam's legacy to the men was equally profound. That true strength isn't domination, but dedication. Not conquest, but cultivation. A real man builds up rather than tears down, protects rather than controls, serves love rather than demanding it. Their final years were spent not in regret, but in wonder. They had transformed exile into adventure, loss into gain, punishment into promotion. From two people hiding in shame, they'd become the foundation of human civilization itself.
When visitors asked about their greatest achievement, they didn't point to their children or their settlements. They pointed to each other. After nearly 1,000 years, they still chose love daily. That, they said, was the real miracle. Eve's death came first, peaceful in Adam's arms after nearly 9 centuries together. Her last words weren't about paradise lost, but about love found. "We chose well," she whispered. "We chose each other." Adam lived for decades more, but never remarried. When asked why, he said simply, "How do you follow perfection? Not the perfection of Eden, but the perfection of choosing the same heart for 1,000 years. Their graves became humanity's first shrine to lasting love, not because they never failed, but because they always returned to each other. Not because love was easy, but because they made it look effortless through centuries of daily choice. Subscribe to join our community of believers in lasting love, because Adam and Eve's story isn't ancient history. It's the template for every great romance. Every couple who chooses each other daily echoes their courage in that first garden. Stay until the very end. The revelation we're about to share will transform how you see every love story, including your own. If this moves your heart, hit like, share this with someone you love, and subscribe for more hidden truths about love's greatest victories. Here's the secret that changes everything. Adam and Eve's greatest act of love wasn't staying in paradise, it was leaving it together. When they chose the fruit, they weren't choosing knowledge over innocence, they were choosing growth together over safety apart. Every real love story since then has been an echo of that first brave choice to leave the safety of self for the adventure of us. Paradise isn't a place you find, it's a choice you make daily. To love someone completely despite their imperfections because of their humanity and towards their highest good. Adam and Eve didn't lose paradise, they created it. One choice at a time, one day at a time, one lifetime at a time. What love will you choose to create today?
Share your greatest love story moment in the comments below.